Good morning, you're very welcome back to the show. Now, in 2024, 263 lives were saved through organ transplants in Ireland.
This morning we're joined by Olivia Farrell, who sadly lost her daughter Lauren in 2022, and Dr. Catherine Motherway to discuss the life-changing impact of organ donation. Thank you both so much for being here. It's an honour to have you, Olivia, for you to talk to us about your daughter. She's 24 years old.
Yeah.
Lauren, what happened?
Lauren died of a heart attack, sudden heart attack.
At 24?
24, yeah, unexpected.
When was this?
In 2022.
2022, and what happened?
She was out on a work do wearing a pair of high heels, thought she had pains in her legs just from wearing the high heels, and it ended up that it was clots. She went to the GP gave her a letter, urged her to go to the A&E. She left it for a couple of days, and then when she decided then that she would go to the A&E, she had the heart attack in the car park of the A&E. So,
tell us about Lauren.
Oh, Lauren. Well, Lauren's a great girl. Bubbly child, always smiling, laughing. Like any little girl, loved all her Disney movies. Music. Just loved her cousins. She was an only child, so, you know, she really embraced having cousins and a larger family. My brothers and sisters as well were really good to her, you know. So, yeah, she was an accountant, so she went to school in Leixlip, from Leixlip, but she went to school in Leixlip and then went to university in Maynooth, got her degree, got a job out of that with a lovely firm in Dublin. And, yeah, she just was a really good girl, lived her life, loved her music, going to gigs, you know, loved movies, you know, just living life, yeah.
I suppose I can't imagine the shock. Can you remember that day?
Yeah, I can. I suppose you go into an autopilot mode, really, you know, when you find out. I got a phone call to say it had happened, and just to get home. I was out of the country at the time, so I got home to her and, yeah, get into the hospital and just there sitting with her and not knowing what was going to actually happen. But then on the second day, they told us that Lauren's kidneys had started going into failure, and they'd done all the tests, and they found that the brainstem wasn't there anymore. So, yeah.
You decided to donate Lauren's organs. Was it something you'd discussed previously?
No, not at all. It was just when we were asked, the doctor came into us and gave us a couple of options. And then the last option, he said that, you know, they do offer to everybody, not everybody wants to do it. And it was an immediate reaction, yes, that's it, yeah, we will. And yeah, Lauren would never have discussed it with us because, you know, your parents, you don't have to know when to talk to them. But it was just an immediate reaction anyway, to say yes to it.
So without just kind of thinking, OK, was it the right what Lauren would have wanted to do? Do you think, were you thinking that's something she would have wanted? Because it's a big question to be asked when you're in the midst of something so excruciating.
Yeah, well, as it turns out, a couple of weeks later, when I was going through Lauren's belongings, she actually had a donor card in her wallet. So, you know, I knew it was the right thing to do. But I felt that when the decision was made at the time, it was nearly coming through Lauren, you know, that type of way, her saying, yeah, go for it. So, yeah, it was the best thing, you know. It's a gift.
Catherine, how important is this for the likes of Olivia in the most difficult of circumstances, but that gift of organs will hopefully save other people's lives?
It obviously, for the recipients, is life-enhancing and life-saving. I mean, we've over 600 people waiting with organ failure. And, you know, for many of those, they will die unless they get an organ. So this is a life-saving gift. But it is also for the donor family, for Lauren's family, I think it is a really, really good thing for them to be able to do, because it benefits them as well. I think it gives hope and purpose in the middle of an enormously difficult time. And primarily I worked in Limerick, it was a donor hospital. And myself and my colleagues, we did this for the donor families. We knew obviously that our recipients were going to benefit enormously. And for each and every gift, that's given by organ donors like Lauren, we know that people's lives are saved and absolutely enhanced by this, and it makes a huge difference to them. But it also makes a really, really big difference for the donor family, I think.
Yeah,
Would you
it
agree?
does massively. Yeah,
Does it?
It does. Yeah, it's well, to know that in the tragedy of Lauren's passing, that there has become something good has come out of it, you know, and there's a person out there now that's living their life and able to get on with their life and build their life from the gift that Lauren has given them, you know. So
I suppose people, because, you know, we think about organ donation and, you know, we learned about it in school and how important it is and everything you're saying here. But I suppose when you're the parent of a child, it's got to be hard to think about your child in component parts, all that kind of thing. So do you get a chance to find out what's happening, what organ might be going to someone who you might be helping?
Well, Lauren donated her liver and her heart valves. So the liver did go to a recipient. The night Lauren went down to theatre was the last we seen her. She went down and the recipient received the liver, yeah. And he's doing really well, so...
that's incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible to
that's
find
incredible
to know that
to
as
know
well,
that.
you know, absolutely, yeah.
And something she would have wanted.
Absolutely, and I think the most reassuring thing was to see the donor card in her wallet afterwards, you know.
Yeah.
She didn't have the conversation with me, she had it with her friend, but at the same time, it was there. The conversation was had, she had it, you know.
Someone.
Catherine, how do you support people going through situations like this?
You support them obviously by, number one, getting them to realise that, you know, the end has come, or and then asking them what that person would have wanted and to honour the donor's wishes. So in Lauren's case, while she might not have the conversation with you, you knew in your heart that's what she would have wanted. Now, some people don't, and that bothers them, and that's why it's really important to have the conversation. I mean, for those people that aren't sure, I sometimes ask them to go and check for donor cards, or to go and check the driving licence, where we all get the opportunity to tick that particular box.
Or on your phone.
Or on your phone, where you may have downloaded it from the IKA, who've massively promoted
even on the
organ
medical card on your iPhone now as well, there's a box to tick whether you do it or not.
So there's multiple ways of actually letting your wishes be known. But it is, I think it's of some comfort to families if this happens, and obviously this happens to less than 100 families a year in Ireland, but there's 600 people waiting. You have a much bigger chance of requiring an organ than being someone who donates organs. And it's not a conversation that we often think about. We don't talk a lot about death anymore. And we did before, I think. But I think it is important that, even for the people listening to us here today, it doesn't have to be a long and difficult, drawn-out conversation. I think you just need to tell someone, look, if that happens to me, I really don't mind. I would like that to happen if these circumstances arise.
And the Human Tissue Act that was passed last year, the legislation whereby we will assume that it's an opt-out process, right? That everyone will be an organ donor unless you can see that they have opted out. That's kind of, you're kind of smiling about that.
Yeah,
Do you
I think that's great. You know, I mean, it's Lauren donated her liver and her heart valves, so they go into storage for like 5 years, and if somebody comes up that's match, you know.
So
they're often used in babies and congenital. They're often used for congenital heart surgery in babies.
To sort babies out, and she's there. She could still be helping in the future,
and in adults.
How, for all of this, you know, she's gone 2-3 years this year. How are you looking back on everything and having the decision that you made? You're clearly very happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely, very happy with it. Yeah. I know Lauren's with me every day. You know, she's never left me. I know the decision was the right decision to make, because in life she was always good looking after people, you know, she was always giving. And, you know, in what was to us a tragedy, but for her it was giving life to somebody else. And that really, every single day, I'm very proud of Lauren, you know.
And if you had a message for people watching on today who might want to open up this conversation, what would you say to them?
Have the conversation. You know, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be afraid to have the conversation, you know. As Catherine said, it doesn't have to be a long conversation, just, you know, what will your wishes be, you know. I mean, you can get the cards in chemists, doctors, surgery. I mean, for the younger generation now, you've got the app on your phone, you know.
Yeah,
so.
as you said, all of these ways.
And even with the new bill, we'll still be asking families. We will still have to make sure that your family are aware of what your wishes were, or that you had no objection. If you have an objection, we won't be talking to you because you'll have registered. We won't be talking to the families of people who've objected.
OK, so that's
So
all
if we come to talk to you after this bill is enacted, it will mean that you're not on the register. And that may be of some comfort to some families.
OK, yeah.
But I do actually think it is better if they know. It's a bit like a will. I keep saying this, I come from an agricultural background. Wills are very important in rural Ireland. It's letting people know what you want in the event of your death. And unfortunately, you know, life is uncertain and things happen, and they happen suddenly. And then a family is left in a really difficult position and their life is totally changed. And if they know what you would have wanted, it helps them a bit. It's not perfect, but it does help them a bit.
It's incredible, I'm sure, to have these conversations, to have to build it up, to go to families like this. But Dr. Catherine Motherway, thank you so much for coming in. And Olivia, just your composure is incredible, honestly. I'd say there's a lot of parents watching right now who don't know how you're doing it every single day, and you're phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, honestly. Olivia Farrell,
Thank
thank you so much. And we'll remember Lauren today and everything that she did. Thanks so much.